society and definitely against the laws of any religion that I have ever read about, that I know about. So that's their own hypocrisy here.
The mother of one of the guys, of one of the 31, who is from Utah, he's from Utah, spoke to the Daily Beast. And I think we all have a question about what prompts someone to do this or to join a group like this. And she says, this isn't the son I raised. But she felt that he was looking for some kind of brotherhood, that he was actually brought in part by the community that this group gave to him after some personal issues that he was having in his life. I wonder what you think about that.
Look, I have empathy for people who are dealing with this, especially a mother. You know, I can only imagine my mother and you as a mother going through this. But I'm always surprised when people say I had no idea or didn't know.
She knew. She had some tip-offs. But she doesn't.
Society and definitely against the laws of any religion that I have ever read about, that I know about. So that's their own hypocrisy here.
The mother of one of the guys, of one of the 31, who is from Utah, he's from Utah, spoke to the Daily Beast. And I think we all have a question about what prompts someone to do this or to join a group like this. And she says, this isn't the son I raised. But she felt that he was looking for some kind of brotherhood, that he was actually brought in part by the community that this group gave to him after some personal issues that he was having in his life. I wonder what you think about that.
Look, I have empathy for people who are dealing with this, especially a mother. You know, I can only imagine my mother and you as a mother going through this. But I'm always surprised when people say I had no idea or didn't know.
She knew. She had some tip-offs. But she doesn't understand where it came from.
Well, of course we understand where it comes from. Of course we do. Look at what happened on January 6th. We understand that people can be co-opted by certain people, certain individuals, certain groups, by the internet. And we should not pretend that that does not happen, that people can be co-opted by bigotry and hatred, some of which our country was founded on. And some of which most of which we haven't dealt with in our society. And we're talking about now, we are dealing with in a very big way the dangers of not standing up for our democracy, not standing up for what's right in our society. And if you don't do that, then you get an insurrection, then you get a patriot front, and the idea that they use the term patriot, that they have co-opted this term patriot to mean something that is really just bastardize the term patriot. That's not what a patriot is. Patriots don't do this.
And she said that pulled him in.
Yeah.
That bastardization of that word.
Of the word patriot. That's not what patriot. We have this idea that patriotism is something that we stand up and for the flag and put our hands over our heart. Patriotism is something that is active, that we have to make sure every day that we live up to the ideals of patriotism. It's not just pretending that we're patriots because we can carry a gun, because we can walk around, a group of us looking like we work at a Best Buy. If you want to wear khakis and blue shirts like that, go get a job at a Best Buy. Don't try to harm your fellow Americans.
Don, you had an interview with the White House press secretary 2 nights ago that is still making news this morning. People are still talking about it because, first of all, it was a terrific interview on a wide range of subjects. But you asked about reports that are now coming out. There was a New York Times story. You're hearing it from other Democrats as well, who are asking questions about whether President Biden, these are Democrats asking questions about whether President Biden should be the nominee in 2024. I want to play an exchange.
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. You know, I can't even keep up with him. We just got back from New Mexico. We just got back from California. That is not a question that we should be even asking.
What do you think of her response, Don?
Of course, we should be asking that question. First of all, I'm a journalist. That's my job, is to ask questions. And as the person who represents the administration and the president, it's her job to answer those questions. I would not be doing my job if I didn't ask that. Let's just be honest about this. I didn't question whether, I'm not being ageist in saying that the president of the United States is too old to be president. We can judge that. I think that's an individual thing, right? But I do think that as the President of the United States, we should know the health history, both physically and mentally, of the United States, the President of the United States. We certainly question the former president's capabilities and whether or not he should have the mental capacity, quite frankly, and the physical capacity to be the President of the United States. And we did it a lot. He had COVID. Can he physically be the President of the United States? It has been said even in these hearings that he is unhinged. That he is out of his mind because of what things that he was doing. Now, I'm not comparing the two men, but it is our job as journalists and as Americans to know the physical and mental capacity of the President of the United States. And I want to be very clear about this. I think Joe Biden is a nice man. He's going to be, he's almost 80 years old. I am in my 50s. I have trouble recalling things. I'm not as sharp as I used to be.
Late 50s.
Stop it. We're going to fight about this. Look, but think about this. I'm not as sharp as I used to be. And the job of President of the United States is a really, really tough job. Maybe he is. I'm sure he's up to the job. But it is my job as a journalist to ask. And the reason I ask that question is because there are reports that are coming out. There's a report in the New York Times about what Democrats are saying, that there are whispers. And we know that as journalists. We know that there are whispers. And we interview the president. We watch him in press conferences. We watch him do interviews he was on Jimmy Kimmel the other night. And quite frankly, I had trouble following him. His answers are not succinct. And I understand that he is an issue as a stutterer as a child. I interviewed him several times leading up to when he was running for president, and as President of the United States, I've interviewed him. And he has trouble sometimes connecting, and his answers sometimes don't make sense. And so I want to know, as a journalist, as an American, does this president have the mental and physical stamina to run again as President of the United States, considering the reports that are coming out and considering my eyes and my ears? I can hear him and I can see him every single day. And as someone my mother will be 80 this year, I doubt that she would want to be President of the United States. And she is a sharp woman. And so I think we need to really think about that. Younger people being more involved in the political process. Younger people, of course, can be involved in the political process. But we need to think about, at a certain time in one's life, perhaps they should think about that. And that includes Donald Trump as well, who is not far behind the current President of the United States.
I've also seen you on social media, Don.
Wait, hang on. And I think liberals, hold on, this is you putting up the LeBron thing, but liberals need to stop having a double standard when it comes to questions that we can ask Democrats and questions that we can ask Republicans. I reported a number of times, many times, on Donald Trump's fitness for office. And it is okay and expected for journalists to report on the current president's fitness for office, whether that president is a Democrat or a Republican. We have to have the same standards for both. Sorry about that.
No. Look, I just was trying to give you a little promo for this video you have with LeBron James, which is incredibly compelling. Just tell people what it is.
This is LeBron James's show called The Shop. It is Uninterrupted is the production company. It's Maverick Carter's production company, NPR's Republican production company. And they asked me to be part of this program called The Shop. And these are conversations that I would love to have a lot more of here on CNN, the conversation that we're having now. And it is just no holds barred. And we talk about issues of the day. Amy Schumer talked about being a comedian in this climate, where people are being canceled just for making jokes, where people are getting slapped and attacked on stage. She talked about that. We talked about the role of journalists in the society. And I had to inform them that we no longer live in a Walter Cronkite society where there are 3 major networks and just a couple of major newspapers around the country, that us as anchors have different roles depending on what we do. If I was an anchor on a broadcast network, I would not be able to give my point of view as much, and nor would I feel the need to be able to have to give my point of view as much as I do now. But I'm a cable news anchor. And I'm on unscripted pretty much for 2 hours every single day, and then 8 minutes in the morning, which you said, Madonna.
I think it's a lot more than 8 minutes.
We're going on 9.5.
So not giving your point of view and not stating the truth and not really standing up for what is right, and I think is an imperative. And so I would like to be able to have those conversations much more. And I also had to inform them that during the time that they were, this time that people are being so romanticizing about journalists, is that there were no journalists on television who even looked like me. So we live in a different time now where it is okay to give your point of view, but one must be factual about the things that we are telling the American people,
It
or
was
putting
just-
in front of
It was
the
an
American
incredibly
people.
compelling discussion that you had with them. You were my favorite character in that show, just to be clear.
Even more than LeBron James?
Oh, yeah, by a lot.
But one thing we did come to a consensus about.
We need to explore that another
No,
time.
it says more about my affection for Don. And you know what, Don?
Yeah.
We're going to leave it there.
I know we are, but let me tell you, we have to.
Then we're not leaving it there, to be clear.
We cannot have a false sense of equivalency about what is happening when it comes to politics in our country. There's one party right now that's not operating in fact, that has been misleading the American people, and that is the Republican Party, sadly, of which I used to be a member of the Republican Party years ago. I'm not a member of any party right now, but we cannot pretend as journalists that it is equal. It is not. Democrats are doing their Democrat thing, and they're being, liberal, and they want all these things. But that's the way normal politics operates, and we can deal with those things. But what the Republican Party is doing now, and not standing up for our democracy and being quiet, that is very dangerous. We cannot fight all of these things and make a better world and do what Larry Summers told me last night about getting our economy together if we don't have a functioning democracy. And so we as journalists need to stand up for that and not pretend that it's that we can both sides this. This is not a both sides thing.
If you want to hear a lot more of this, all right, you can watch Don Lemon on Don Lemon tonight at 10 p.m. right here.
Are we going to leave it there?
On CNN. Well, no, we left it there before. We tried to leave it there before, but that didn't work out.
You didn't get off the train.
Don, listen, thank you so
I
much.
love you guys. You guys are the best. It's so good to see you.
Nice to see you in person.
know.
You guys are-
We'll always
If you
have
only knew.
we'll always have the
I'm
lead.
here.
only
Don's
knew.
here. No coincidence.
Right, new this morning, President Biden penning a letter to the major oil refinery companies in an effort to address rising gas prices. The Energy Secretary, Jennifer Granholm, joins us next.